Brandon Ingram has another disaster class, CJ McCollum is the new Trae Young, and Minnesota defeats Denver to even the series. But first, I'm going to tell a joke. Disclaimer, I'm not going to tell the joke now, but when I do, you have to remember to laugh. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. All right, now on with the show. The Cleveland Cavaliers came in hot last night. It was clear they wanted to get Jarrett Allen involved early. Allen scored their first couple of buckets, and it was immediately clear to me that his size was going to be a problem for Toronto all series long. And Spida, man, Donovan Mitchell was hitting shots that had no business going in last night. I'm talking and one middies, deep threes. The dude came to work. Now Toronto, trying their best to learn from game one's mistakes, tried to get Brandon Ingram involved as early as the first possession, which was a smart adjustment on paper, but Cleveland had different plans. Whether it was Sam Merrill, Dean Wade, even James Harden, they met Brandon Ingram at his point of attack every single time, making it nearly impossible for BI to get it going. And let me say this, I don't know what it is about this matchup, but there is something deeply personal between Brandon Ingram and Sam Merrill. Because although he's a hell of a shooter, I've never in my life seen Sam Merrill as someone who's gonna clamp your best player. And yet, that's what he's doing to Brandon Ingram possession after possession. Brandon Ingram can't seem to score on the guy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Even guys like Dean Wade and Max Strus are making huge defensive efforts. Closing out, getting in the cookie jar, stealing the cookies. Speaking of Max Strus, can we talk about my biggest concern from game one? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sure, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, those guys are going to get theirs. They're superstar, all-NBA guys, right? And as a result, guys like Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen are so involved in the offense as the screeners and rollers, they're going to get theirs too. But what really concerned me about Toronto's game one performance was they're letting a guy like Max Strus get off 24 on them. What? I understand. Again, I understand James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, they're going to get theirs. But we're letting Max Strus get 24 off on you. You guys don't have a chance. If you're letting the supporting cast get off on you like that, you don't stand a damn chance. And in game two, they made an adjustment. To be fair to them, they didn't play a perfect game today. But as far as the coaching, they did make an adjustment. They weren't going to let the supporting cast be the one to kill them. And so in game two, things begin to look a little bit different. Max Strus only got off 6 points, whereas in game one, he got 24 points in just 24 minutes. And also to Toronto's credit, in game two, they were more physical. You can see it in their offensive rebounding. But still, Emmanuel quickly being out continues to haunt them. Despite him being a smaller guard and not being the best defender, he's just another guy who can take control of some of the ball handling responsibilities, create his own shots, get some open looks for teammates, and really just get other guys involved. And with him being gone, you can see how much it's affecting Scottie Barnes and Brandon Ingram specifically. And speaking of Brandon Ingram, he sold Toronto in this game. 7 points, 3 of 15 shooting from the field. He's supposed to be their number one option, mind you. He's all season long, he's led them in points. He's been the guy to take the late game shots. He's supposed to be this perennial shooter, all-time shot creator. He has a Kevin Durant build. And then here comes the playoff. They need him most. And even tonight, I personally think they played a good enough game. They played a good enough game for them to win tonight. The difference between them winning and losing tonight was 3 of 15 shooting from Brandon Ingram. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mitchell had himself 30 points. James Harden, I think he had him, 28. Evan Mobley, 25 points on 11 of 13 shooting. The three of them combined for 82 points and shot over 50% from the field. I hate to use this phrase, and I'll give Toronto fans a trigger warning before I say this, but watching Donovan Mitchell last night, it was giving LeBronto vibes. It really, really was. It was giving LeBronto vibes. The Cavs are just having their way with them. They're shooting the three. They're clamping up on defense. They're getting to the cup. They're getting everyone involved. I mean, in last night's game, Cleveland only had 4 players with double-digit scoring. Toronto, like I said, Toronto said, we're not going to let guys like Max Strus get off on us again. And as a result, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, they said, all right, we'll do it ourselves. Really great win from Cleveland. Oh, and by the way, this is Robe Report. Don't be shy. Give us a follow, like, subscribe, comment. It would really be a big help for me, as your support helps me and my team continue to make these videos and hopefully entertain you to some extent. So please, do us all a favor. Subscribe, like the video, comment. It's free. All right, Atlanta versus New York, the most dramatic game of the night. Josh Hart set the tone for the New York Knicks as usual. It's the reason they call him the heart of the team. And Karl Anthony Towns shot the ball well. He hasn't had to do a whole lot last couple of games just because of the natural flow of the game. But he's genuinely been performing well. I really liked what I was seeing from him as far as like offensive rebounds. He was looking like Mitchell Robinson out there. I think in the first 3 quarters, he had like 4 offensive rebounds. It was really, really good stuff. And it actually felt like a relatively quiet night for Jalen Brunson. And then I look up at the box score and it says Jalen Brunson got 29 points. That's how great he is. He can have a damn near 30 ball. Nerds like myself are saying he had another day in the office. OG Anunoby was doing great work, attacking the paint, hitting wide open threes. There was a play, I think in the first half, where he contested a Dyson Daniels shot, and him and Cat went up together. Cat actually landed on his ankle, and he ended up twisting his ankle. So if you're a Knicks fan, you should be monitoring that closely coming into Game 3. If it wasn't for New York's bench being complete no-shows and them only shooting 32% from 3, I thought they did enough today. I feel like they did more than enough to get away with the win, but they really let this one go. They let this one slip. For Atlanta, CJ McCollum was truly the one doing most of the heavy lifting because Jalen Johnson did nothing for the first 3 quarters of the game. Yeah, I think he had like 4 or 6 shot attempts in the first 3 quarters. It's interesting. But McCollum, nah, this man was tough. He realized he had such a size advantage on Jalen Brunson with him being a bigger guard and all. And he went to work. He decided, I'm going to be the one to keep us in this game. And he did a pretty damn good job of it. Also, shout out to Onyeka Okongwu. I just probably butchered his name. He was really big for them, hitting huge threes during their offensive slumps, keeping them in the game along with CJ McCollum. And he's one of those really unique players because he's 6'10". He's kind of like a center power forward build, but he's a sniper. He lets that thing go. It kind of reminds me of, what's his name? Jaren Jackson Jr. in that way. And in that fourth quarter, the Atlanta Hawks erased what was a 14-point deficit. In that final period, they forced a lot of turnovers and shot 72% from the field. CJ McCollum polished off his 32-point performance with 3 late buckets, including a go-ahead baseline mid-range jumper with 34 points left on the clock on none other than OG Anunoby. Brunson hit a clutch 3 to give the Knicks life back. CJ McCollum then goes on to miss 2 big free throws, back-to-back free throws. It was really tough. You could tell he was really nervous out there. And with the game on the line, Mikal Bridges has a chance to tie it with seconds on the clock. Mid-range jumper. It rims out, ball game. Atlanta still went on the road, and just like that, New York has their back against the wall with the series tied heading into the A. Also, New York fans made a fuck CJ McCollum chant during the game. I think it's the funniest thing in the world because when he was asked about it in the post-game interview, he literally said, "I am no villain. I'm a nice guy with 2 kids and a wife." You gotta love this dude. He's just honest. New York was trying to make him like this new Trae Young figure that they can hate on. And yeah, when you have so many people being fake tough guys, you gotta appreciate CJ McCollum, who's just like, yeah, that's not me for real, but stay blessed. Okay, now for the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Denver Nuggets. Minnesota won this one 119-114, tying up the series 1-1. This was the game of the night. This was the one. Anthony Edwards came into the game questionable with a right knee inflammation, and you could see it after every drive to the basket. He was massaging and grabbing that right knee. But still, this man logged 40 minutes, the most he's logged in since February. And he still put up 30 points and 10 rebounds without even being fully healthy. Really impressive stuff from Anthony Edwards yesterday. Now for the first half, the Denver Nuggets came out and imposed their will on Minnesota. Jamal Murray, I think he had, almost 18 points in that first half. Guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. had 14 points in his first 15 minutes, hitting huge threes from everywhere. It was nuts. Ant and Randall were the top scorers for both teams pretty early, but the Nuggets still went on a 13-0 run to take a 20-11 lead. And at one point, they're up by as much as 19 points. It looked like the game might be slipping away from Minnesota. And that's when Julius Randle really attacked. A lot of times my problem with Julius Randle is he defers to Anthony Edwards too much, and I understand it. Anthony Edwards is the guy, the player, face of the league arguably, and he averages damn near 30 points. But Anthony Edwards, he's gonna get his points regardless. Like, trust me, Randall, there's nothing you could do to stop him from getting the ball. So you don't have to worry about him getting involved in the offense. He'll find his way. But as far as you need to get your shots up early and attack, especially with guys like Jokic in there who really can't do a whole lot with you. You have a big advantage attacking the rim. But Edwards and Randall stuck with it one play at a time, not only minimizing the deficit, but also stealing the lead 64-61. But then Jamal Murray did Jamal Murray things. He had a half-court buzzer beater tying the game 64-64 at halftime. And that second half is when both teams turn it up a notch. Jay McDaniels put on a defensive spectacle containing Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray in that fourth quarter. And Dante DiVincenzo was everywhere, passing, shooting, playmaking, game-altering steals. He finished with 16 points and hit a dagger 3, helping the Minnesota Timberwolves close out the Denver Nuggets. But the real star of the show, it was Rudy Gobert, damn it. I hate how y'all doing Rudy Gobert. This guy, there's not a lot of people in the history of ball itself that have ever had the impact of Rudy Gobert. And I saw the DPOY standings, and it was Wemby out the one. I understand that. I respect it. Wemby's him, all right? But then I look further down the list, and I see Chet Holmgren and Asar Thompson and then Rudy Gobert? He finished 4th in DPOY. This is a guy who has multiple DPOYs himself, damn it. And we're saying Asar Thompson's already in Rudy Gobert territory as far as defensive impact? Not a better player. I'm saying as far as defensive impact. And Chet Holmgren, again, I'll give you might be a better player than Rudy Gobert. But as far as a defensive player, Chet Holmgren doesn't hold a candle to Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert in last night's performance genuinely contained what could be the greatest offensive engine in NBA history. That's how good Rudy Gobert is. Think about how good Nikola Jokic is at offense. That's how good Rudy Gobert is at defense. I'll give you the one with Wemby. But the idea of him being the 4th ranked defensive player in the NBA association, this is disheartening. I find this ridiculous. Gobert held Jokic to 1 of 8 shooting in their individual matchup in what might have been one of Jokic's worst playoff performances yet. And it wasn't until Gobert sat on the bench thanks to foul trouble that Jokic got his 14 out of his 24 points. Mind you, he didn't really get off offensively until Rudy Gobert sat down. And Gobert did come back in the 4th, forcing 3 crucial game-altering misses from Denver, changing the game entirely. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch. He deserves massive credit too. His defensive game plan last night, it was elite. His substitution patterns, I love it, especially considering Edwards is still nursing that right knee inflammation. A lot of it made sense in my eyes. The length I was seeing from the lineups and Naz Reid. Naz Reid had himself a performance now. Naz Reid, boy, I'll tell you, Naz Reid had himself a little bit of a game. There was a little stretch there. I was like, whoa, okay, this is reminding me of, I remember those playoff series last year where we was just praising Naz Reid game after game. This was a good Naz Reid game. To close it out, Anthony Edwards did have a blatant travel that really hurt Minnesota, but they made up for it on the other end. Chris Braun missed 2 really crucial free throws after getting fouled on a shot attempt that Nikola Jokic himself really should have just took. I don't know why the player with the greatest touch in probably NBA history is passing up a shot that close to the rim. You're freaking 6'10". Then on the other side, Randall hits his 2 free throws. Final possession for Denver. Jamal Murray tries to do some late game heroics, goes for a long 2 and misses. DiVincenzo grabs the board, seals the game with a slam dunk. Final score 119-114. Minnesota takes game 2. Both Minnesota and Atlanta got away with the win within an inch of their lives tonight. And that's what makes the playoffs beautiful. They say the playoffs don't begin until both teams have won a game. And well, here you go. A lot of the series are tied up right now, and I am pumped. But don't think I forgot about my joke, all right? The New York Knicks. Get it? Because they're a garbage organization. They suck. Now cue my damn music. That's it for today's Roby Report. Cavaliers up 2-0. Atlanta and New York tied up 1-1. Denver and Minnesota also tied up 1-1. Anthony Edwards put the world on notice last night, playing through a really bad knee injury. And if you're new here, welcome. Subscribe for more commentary like this. And drop a comment letting me know what you thought about the games. I'm Matthew. This has been Roby Report. See you all tomorrow, or not. I don't really like y'all anyway. Peace.